Good morning, everybody. Joe Ciaccio here. Happy Monday to everybody. Let me fix this picture on my wall. Driving me crazy. It's not straight. Okay. Today, I'm going to kind of classify this as just simple things you got to know to make money. I'm going to give you a couple examples of what has transpired probably in the last week or so with this one agent we've had. And it got to a point to where he's complaining about everything, and we didn't have this and we didn't have that, and we didn't teach him the right thing, and we've have parted and gone separate ways. For everybody who does not know, everything that I talk about, Jay and Heather, everything that we have is on our back office. Everything I'm going to go over today is in the back office to help you out make more sales. And the reason we do this here is because we're a team. I help you, you help me, we live happily ever after, we all make money. He wrote an application on a person, and it was an e-app, went on there and did it, and it was declined because the person was 10 pounds over the weight limit that was specified on the agent's height weight chart. He got upset. He said, Joe, what is 10 pounds? It's okay. So a couple days later, he went and wrote a term application, clean sheeted it, because the guy had not had a heart attack in 2 years, cancer in 2 years, so he felt the application for a term and a simplified issue were very similar. Well, they're not. Term has more underwriting. Term looks deeper into what your illnesses are. SIWL, Simplified Issue Whole Life, is the most lenient form of insurance that we have. And due to that the premiums are a little bit higher because that's how it goes. Now, what you have to know are these things we're going to go over today. Plus, you got to know how to close, overcome objections, you got to know rebuttals, you got to be on the phone, all that stuff you got to know. We know that already. When you're out writing a client, you need to know up front how the client's going to pay, not at the end. And the reason you don't want to know at the end how the client's going to pay or when he wants to start his first premium payment is because you're going to be talking to him about carrier number one, get to the end, and that's not going to work out because he wants to use a MasterCard debit card. Okay? Not all carriers carry that. You've got to understand, does he have a checking account? Does he have a savings account? Is he on Social Security billing? Is he not on Social Security billing? So these things you must gather up front because you need this information so when you're going over the information with him, you know what you're doing. It's kind of like playing cards. You got your hand in front of you. Before you bet, before you gamble, you're going to sit and say, this is a good hand. Let me go with the cheapest price. Okay? Or this hand don't look too good. I'm going to put him with a guaranteed issue. You must know when in advance. Now, I've got one list here. Let me see here. If you want to write, let's say, Ciaccio, Sentinel, Transamerica, you could only post date it 30 days in advance. So if you want to write somebody today, September for November 1st effective date with certain carriers it can't go. You've got to look at this sheet that has days in advance to post date your initial premium. That will tell you which one you can write today, or you got to go back next week if the client doesn't qualify for this one here. So days in advance, you got to know. We'll go a little bit out of order. You got to know what carriers do Social Security billing. Joe, what's Social Security billing? Well, Social Security billing is what you call a gift that we've been given because the clients we deal with, when the money comes in, they pull the money out. If the second, first, or third falls on a Saturday or Sunday, that money is going to come into their account on Friday. Carriers that do not do Social Security billing will send your request in on Monday to draft on Tuesday. Newsflash, the money's not there. Social Security billing says, Joe, if your client that you write, the first or third falls on a Saturday or Sunday, we know they're getting the money on Friday. We will draft it on Friday to make sure your client has a policy and you don't get a chargeback. Okay? Got the whole list of which ones do Social Security billing. Okay, let's talk about grandchild riders. Agent called me and said, Joe, I've got a client that wants to do something for his children and grandchildren, and one of them is in good health, the other two got medical issues. He says, I would like to write them, I think he told me American Amicable. I like to write them with American Amicable. Well, American Amicable has health questions for the children and grandkids. It's not going to happen. The carriers I've got on my little list here is Trans and Great Western, as of today, that do not ask health questions. So if you have a child or grandchild that has some type of medical issue when they're born, okay, or they gather it before they're the age of 16, where you can write them to, you've got to put them with those carriers if that's what the client wants. The premiums are higher than what you want to put them with. There's nothing you can do about it. So you must put the client where the client qualifies for it. You, the agent, what happens is that we, as myself, we want to give the client the cheapest thing out there, because we feel if I get the cheapest thing out there, I'm not going to get a charge back and it's going to be, hallelujah. Well, that don't work, okay? The client buys what you tell them. This is the cheapest, this is the best, we're going to do this, this, and this for your client. Make sure you don't lose this program because not many people can qualify for it, okay? You do not put them with the cheapest company because, okay, it don't work. Smoker rates. Then I'm going to get into where you place the client when they have medical issues. Smoker rates. If your client does not smoke cigarettes, they do pipe, they do chew, they do dip, they do anything other than cigarettes, you can give them Prosperity as a non-smoker. I said it. If your client smokes cigarettes, they're a smoker everywhere. Prosperity says, Joe, we're application, we're priced that if your client does not smoke cigarettes, does everything else, we'll give them a non-smoker rate. Now, American Amicable says if he does an occasional cigar, Mutual says an occasional cigar, okay, they'll give them that, okay. Life Shield is another one, an occasional cigar, they'll give them a non-smoker rate. These are things, back office, that will be there for you, so when you're sitting with a client, you don't have to sit and go to give them a smoke rate. You can give them a non-smoker rate, yet you got to go to these carriers. This I don't need. Okay. I'm going to say every carrier we have has an e-app. Almost every carrier we have does an e-app with an instant approval before you even leave the house. It's all written down on this cheat sheet here. This cheat sheet will also show you who does credit cards, the MasterCard Direct Express. It'll show you who does a point of sale, to where if the client's got a bad internet connection, you can do a phone call with the client on the phone. All this stuff is written here. Even tells you who you can submit a paper application to. For some reason, your actual computer laptop is out of whack. Now, let's get down to the brass tacks. Let's talk about issues with medical issues. I said before, you do not put the client with the cheapest carrier before you ask health questions. It's kind of like, as we all say, you put the cart before the horse. My suggestion for everyone is to have a list of things that you need to find out before. Smoker, non-smoker, what do they smoke, what their date of birth is, how they're going to pay, are they on Social Security, do they have an email? All these things here you must take into account before you open your mouth and say, this client, I'm going to give them this company because I like this company. I like them all, every carrier we have. What I like more is a carrier that's going to give my client immediate benefits, immediate issue right then and there. That makes me feel good because I know I'm helping the client over and above the call of duty. We all go through a stage where we feel that by giving the client the cheapest thing out there prior to asking all the health questions, that's the smartest thing to do. I've gone to houses before, as Mr. Jones, go through my little dog and pony show, and I said, how's your health? He said, man, Joe, my health is doing very good, very good. I said, okay. So, I'm guilty. Years ago, you do it when you're a rookie and you green pea. I pulled out my book, looked up the cheapest thing I have, and said, okay, I'm going to give you this one here. And back in the days when I started 26 years ago, you got to do a paper app. Paper app, wet check, submit it to the company. A week later, I got a notice back, client declined, client declined, client declined. I said, damn. So, a couple weeks later, I go to another house, ask the client, how's your health doing? He says, Joe, health is very good now. So I've learned when they say how your health is, and they say it's good now, or is doing much better now, that should throw up a flag, something is going on. And you must bring out the health questions. Pick a carrier that you like. Pick a carrier that you're comfortable with. Know that carrier inside and out of your mind. Heart attack 2 years, stroke 2 years, cancer 2 years. Have all of this stuff up here. So when you're asking the questions, you okay, my favorite company, my favorite company, my favorite company. Ooh, I'm not sure. Make a little note. Then go to your cheat sheets to look and see what they have, if that company will take them. Now, let's start with somebody that's got COPD. Everybody's got, not everybody, people have COPD, emphysema, Parkinson's. I'm going to talk about emphysema and COPD right now. The carriers that will take them is Liberty Bankers, immediate standard, CVS, immediate standard. Okay? Now, I may leave some carriers out, yet I've got it all written on these cheat sheets here. If you have a client that had a heart attack a little bit over a year ago, you're going to go with CVS. Okay? These are things you got to put up here in the file cabinet. So when they say something, you open the file cabinets up to where you're going to sit and say, okay, this is a carrier I got to put my client with because this is how their health is. Some carriers or some agents would rather use a carrier that's a graded one because sometimes those rates are less expensive than an immediate standard, and the client's okay with it. Our job is to ask for health questions, find out about their medication, find out how long ago this took place, and ask everything about them, including their height and weight. Once you have all that information gathered, from there you're going to move forward with a certain carrier. A client called me probably about a month ago and said, Joe, I want to add to my life insurance. Okay? And the client had Royal Neighbors. I said, okay. I said, I can get you Royal Neighbors, same company you have, same benefits. And for $7,000, I think it was going to be $81, right around there. He said, Joe, I can't afford that. Can you go lower? I said, yeah. He says, all I want is one for $2,000. I'm guilty. I'm guilty. He told me he wanted rural neighbors. I got a little excited. I saw all the writing on the wall. I couldn't write on rural neighbors. So does everybody make mistakes? Yeah, guys. Anybody that gets and speaks in front of you and they make no mistakes, even if they're a seasoned veteran, I'll probably take a soft step backwards and revisit my thought process about that person. Because what happens is that you get into a mode. You start going 97 miles an hour. I got to get this phone call here. Jay needs me for this. Heather needs this here. I got the client on the phone. They want to buy. So what happens, you get all this distraction going on. When you're in a house, you got to do your hardest. Right when you get out of your car and you close your door, you're not going to worry about that payment you're almost late on. You're not going to worry about the argument you had with somebody. You're not going to worry about this or that there. You want to go into a house with your mind as clear as you can. It's going to be days where it's going to be challenging. There'll be days where you're going to say, man, this is easy peasy. By using these cheat sheets, it's going to help you know how to do it. Okay? So, face amounts, you got to know what care to put them with. Height, weight, their medication. A diabetic. Joe, God, I got a diabetic who started when he was 50 years old. I put him with Mutual Omaha. He got it graded. Joe, I put him with American Amicable. He got it graded. Okay? Mutual says if you're a diabetic before age 50, you're automatic graded. American Amicable says if you're a diabetic on insulin prior to 50, you're graded. Okay? Rural Neighbor says if you're a diabetic prior to age 30, it's a do not submit. So whenever you're speaking with a client and they tell you that they're a diabetic, I don't say type 1, type 2, because I get confused on what those mean as well. Clients think they got a 1, but they're a type 2. So are you on a pill or are you on a shot? Some agents say, well, are you on insulin or is this oral? I go straight to the point. You take a shot in your arm, or do you take a pill every morning? When you know which one they are, that takes you one step closer of who you want to put your client with. When a client sits and tells you, Joe, my health is great, but I'm on a couple medications. Now, my definition of a couple is 2 or 3, maybe 4 on a good day. I've gone to houses before. How's your health? My health is great. You on any medications? Yes, I am. And you know how when you have those big old dump trucks backing up and you hear the beep, beep, beep? This lady was backing up her medicine cabinet to me with all the medication she had. This is a true fact. I know it. I saw it. I counted it. She was on 17 different medications. Now, how in the hell can 17 medications work? You start thinking, I'm going to take 10 at night and take 7 in the day. How does that pill know I need one for my heart, I need one for my back pain, I need one for my diabetes? How does the medication know? Well, that medication goes in your body and it just goes to those neurotransmitters where it's needed at. 17 meds. She got guaranteed issue. She had everything wrong with her based on her medication. This is what you also got to know when it comes to medication. When you ask a client, are you on any medications? And they tell you, well, Joe, I'm only on high blood pressure and I'm only on cholesterol. You must go one step further in asking the question before they tell you, is I need to know all the medication that you're currently taking and you no longer take for the last 3 years or 4 years. Pick a number, 3 years or 4 years. Because what ends up happening is sometimes people are given medication. Good example, this happened to an agent years and years ago. Client was in great health, nothing wrong with him. He was on a blood pressure medication, got declined. He says, well, what happened? What happened? He says, man, he says, you got declined. You only on blood pressure. He called me, Joe, what do I do? What's going on? I said, well, ask him the health questions again. Because this happened about 4 or 5 years ago. The carriers really don't tell you, well, Joe, it's because of this or that there. They may say it's due to a medication. He went back and talked to her and says, are there any medications that you used to take that you no longer take? So he sat there, she sat there, and they talked. She goes, yes, there was a medication. The doctor gave me a medication called Aricept. And I took it, I got it filled once or twice. Then I went to speak to another doctor, and that doctor says, I don't need that medication no more. Well, Aricept is used for Alzheimer's, okay? People with memory loss. So once that comes up on their prescription list, it's an act of God to go through the pharmacy division, minimum I think it's called, and get with them to take that medication off there. Can it be done? Yes. Is it a chore? Is it a job? Yes, it is. So what happens is that clients take meds, do not take them anymore, that is on their medical records for their prescription, which is going to hurt you right in the application. So you need to ask, are there any medications that you're currently taking and medications you've had taken in the last 3 years or 4 years that you no longer take? The reason I need these medications is because this is part of the process of finding out what company you qualify for. Please do that. Let's talk about a company we got called, people don't like writing guaranteed issues. They don't like writing guaranteed issues. Yet, to me, it's called cash flow. Company we got called GTL, Guaranteed Trust, has it to where they're different on how they pay out. So when you're thinking about going to somebody's house and they already have a guaranteed issue that they've had for over a year, I don't know if I'd flip that. I really don't know if I'd flip that. Let me try to add to it, okay? This one with GTL does it differently. Guaranteed issue companies normally return their premiums for 2 years. They give you 10% plus your premiums back. GTL says, Joe, year 1 is 5% return of premium. Year 2 is 50% of the face amount. Year 3 is 100%. So the way GTL pays out is much sexier than a regular guaranteed issue. They've got 6 health questions, okay? Not a bad deal. Nitro pills. Ooh, howdy, I've heard nitro pills. Though that kind of comes and goes a bunch of times. Transamerica says if you have a client that has on a nitro pill or a nitro patch, they consider that a maintenance drug, not a treatment drug as other carriers have it as. Royal Neighbor says we don't want it. Let me see who else. Columbian says they don't want it. CBS don't want it. Now the ones that take it is Transamerica. American Amicable will take it if the first fill is over 2 years. American Memorial will take it. These sheets here to me is the Holy Grail. This is the Bible. This is your sacred information here. So when you're going through questions with your client, you're able to flip through this chart here to see exactly what carrier you can put them with. What carrier can you put somebody with? What carrier can you put your client with that's bipolar, anxiety, depression, psychiatric issues, schizophrenia? CBS says we'll take them. CBS says we got no problem with that there. American Amicable says they'll take it. We got other ones that do too. I'm gonna close with this here. We give you the tools. You just got to go to work. You got to know how to get into a house. You need to know how to make a presentation. If you're in the house with a client, this is my guarantee to you. You're in the house with a client, you've done everything you can, and you're not exactly sure who to place the client with. You're going to call me. You're going to say, Heather, Jay, Sierra, this is Bob. I'm in the house with a client. I need to talk to Joe. When an agent calls and says he or she is in the house with a client, you tell us that there, they get me, I stop everything. If I got my headset on, I get the phone right behind me in the hallway and I'll talk to you. Okay? What you have to do is that you have to have all the information about that client in front of you. They're diabetic. When they started, they're on a pill or a shot. They had heart attack, stroke, cancer. When was the stroke first done? Okay, when did you have the first stroke? When did you have the stroke? When it comes to cancer, is when were you put into the clean bill of health? No more chemo, no more radiation. The doctors kind of said, okay, this is your first day of the beginning of your new life. That there's got to be 2 years, 3 years, or 4 years with certain companies. Give me that information. If you don't give me everything, I'm going to ask you, okay, and do not have me on speakerphone. Talk ear to ear and put your volume down. So I'm going to ask you questions. And then from there, I'm going to tell you, okay, since they're a little bit overweight, which you don't want the client to hear that there, you either go Roll Neighbors or you go CVS. Okay? Joe, he smokes a little bit of cigars, but like not that much. But who can I put him with? Well, you can put him with Mutual Omaha, American Amicable. You can put him with Prosperity. So by doing this here, I will tell you who to put the client with. That's part of my job. I don't get no extra commission. Whatever your commission is, you get it. Okay? Think about that lifesaver that I'm giving you guys. Take advantage of it. Call me. Now don't call me if the guy is on a metformin pill and high blood pressure pill. That's simple things that you guys should know already. So, okay, I'm gonna let you go. Everything that I told you about is in the back office under the agent manual, either printable or for you to put on your iPad, your laptop, whatever, to where you can zoom through it. I'm old fashioned, like to have it in paper with a little film on it. If you have any questions, call us. We appreciate you. We love you. Hit them hard, guys. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.